What's up, guys? It's Coach Tyler here with another episode of Mindset Monday, and this is part 3, the last message of Breaking Bad. And so, we're going to talk through some of the actual practical moments. And now that we've got some awareness, right? We have identified some of the payoffs and the behaviors. Now we want to talk about how to practice and actually lose some weight because we want to, not because it's miserable for us, right? And so I'm going to give you an acronym called RAIN, R-A-I-N. Where we recognize the trigger, we allow it to come into our life or into our brain, into our body and experience it, and then we're going to investigate and get curious. Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? What's going on around me and what's going on up here? Am I spending more time in the present? Am I spending time in the past? Or am I spending too much time in the future? And each of those things has its own payoff, depending on where my mind is currently at. And then the last but not least is to take notes, right? So when I'm in a situation, if I can note how I'm actually feeling, not just the fact that I'm hungry, I want you to think about this, right? At what point in our relationships in life do we just stop showing up and start showing up as an adult, if that makes sense, right? Our parents teach us how to behave and kind of give us some parameters. And as we grow up as an adult, we sort of begin to observe the world around us and try to make sense of it, right? And the way that these things kind of occur is up here. We start to tell ourselves some stories. Now, part of these stories, if you look back at this quote, "So a man thinketh, so a man does." And I want you to think about Lolo Jones. She's actually from LSU. She was in the Olympics in 2008. She was in the lead and favored to win. In an interview in 2020, she starts talking about being in the lead, and she doesn't start to process, "I'm going to win." What she starts to process is, "I really need to snap that leg up." And what happens is she tries to will herself into that win. And as a result, it became sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense, right? She identified that she needed to start doing something, and instead of just being in that flow state where she's letting that automatic brain take over and that talent that she practiced, she got a little insecure in the moment and she fell and came out 7th. Now, if you follow her on Instagram, you'll see that she talks quite a bit about this, and she's such a sweet person. So go give her a follow. Amazing person, amazing athlete, amazing local person, right? So, to bring this on home, guys, when you're in a situation that you're tempted to want to push away something that is not negative, allow it to come up, and without judgment, we don't need to fix it. We need to just be an observer, right? Why am I feeling this way? So, for example, if you were to study someone who's feeling fear or feeling anxiety, and you ask them to re-experience the last time that something like that happened, what 9 times out of 10 people are going to kind of point to their stomach, their chest, and they're going to start to feel a hotness, a tenseness, and that's the way the body's way of responding in fight or flight mode. And oftentimes we don't recognize how we're feeling, and that dictates how we tend to consume food, media, whatever it is around us. So, just the sheer practice of mindfulness, noting it, and again, it goes back to what we started talking about originally, right? And that's awareness of the behavior and the trigger, right? Looking at the behavior as a result, and then looking at the payoff. So once we get to a point that the payoff for the new behavior that we desire is greater, we're cooking with gas. And so here's the deal. When I feel sad, I grab a cupcake, I feel better temporarily, and then I feel like trash. Then I practice rain, where I recognize what's coming up, I allow it to come into my body, try it on for size and experience it. I investigate and then take notes. I have an internal reward system that's there anytime I need it. So now my body knows that I had the internal tools to deal with this, as opposed to needing something from the external world. And that, my friends, is the key to rewriting your script in your relationship with food, cigarettes, good behavior, bad behavior, being kind, or being angry, whatever it is. If you stop and examine what the real payoff is versus that internal locus of control that brings us to a state of peace. I said it, peace. We typically have always associated excitement in the moment and mistaken it for being happy. Happiness has to do with what's already inside of us and accepting that and finding our real authentic peace. This is the end message, the third part of Breaking Bad. I hope you guys enjoyed this series as much as I did putting it together. I sourced most of this from Dr. Judd Brower. Give his website a browse. I love it. I fell in love with all this source material. And I hope that you have a great January going into February and have a beautiful 21.